And we will drop out of that nice Guitar Hero riff and sign in tonight. Another edition of the Big 12 Mafia show on the College Football Mafia Network. I'm your host, Nathan Bomber Brown. With me are my partners and true blue brothers. I appreciate both of them. That would be Wild Ute and Moen. How you guys doing tonight?
True Red Brothers right there. What's going on?
Good to have you back. You can call it that. Yeah, hey, it's what it is. A little bit later in the show, I'll give an update, my health update, so we can get as many people to that. I'd rather not talk about it 4 or 5 times, so we'll do that a little bit later in the show. Let everybody know where I'm at and what my future looks like in the near future. But we appreciate everybody joining us tonight. I was on the Ryan and Rush show just before this, and that was a lot of fun. I appreciate everybody that went over and watched that. And to have them come over here. Timothy Green, I know, was one of those guys over there representing the Mafia family. So make sure you follow us all on Twitter. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube. Turn on your notifications so you know when our shows are on. And important tweets that we put out announcements all the time on Twitter. And last but not least, make sure that those subscriptions continue to grow, because we're shooting for 5,000 by the end of September. Do you know what our number is right now, Moen?
42 something.
Yeah, we're a bit off. So we need to encourage as many people to sign up and do those subscriptions as we can. Obviously, we thank everybody for being here and doing that. Leave your comment and question and give us a thumbs up on how we're doing. Before we jump into anything, how you guys doing? What's going on in your lives today?
Man, just living the dream. It's raining out here in Salt Lake City, which is a wonderful thing. Good for our lawns. And, excited for football to start. A couple weeks away, guys. Just a few weeks away. We're going to get kicked off, and that West Virginia Penn State game's coming up. That is the big one for week 0, week 1 for the Big 12. So, Mountaineer Nation, we need you to rep big time.
And I think we ought to do – the Big 12 should own that week 0. I think there should be 3 or 4 league games that day. You imagine going from sunrise to sunset with football? Anyway, Moen, I didn't mean to cut you off. How you doing?
Well, you didn't cut me off. I got my Georgia Tech glass filled.
Okay, Georgia
vodka Tech and Hawaiian Punch tonight. No whiskey. I drank the last box of whiskey with a friend. So vodka and Hawaiian Punch.
Okay, all right, that's plenty good. Syracuse and Georgia Tech are still a drinking game. If you do drink, feel free to partake. Make sure you don't drink and drive. Oh, my mom just got in here, so I'm going to step out for a second. You guys maybe do some shout outs while I'm gone. I'll be right back.
Will do.
Let's do it.
All right, let me jump to the top here. We got our buddy Joaquin Morales, the Arizona Sun Devil, in the house. Hey, CFM fam, let's talk football. We plan on tonight, we're going to do our Big 12 preview, where everybody on the team weighed in and what we think of the Big 12. Buckshot Kids here. Oh, hey, College Football Mafia. Nathan's here, says hi, guys.
What's
and then
up?
He says hi, chat. Timothy Green, the man, the myth, the legend. Let's get ready to rumble. Good evening, college football fans. Thank you, Timothy Green. Good to see you. Jan Holk is here all the way from Slovenia. Good to see you, Jan. Hope you're feeling well. Ryan Willie, hi, CFM. Hope you're feeling better as well, Ryan. I know you were under the weather. Hopefully you're out from under the weather now. I hope. Scavin, yes. Evening, gentlemen. Good to see you, Scavin.
Good evening.
Daniel Gygax. Hi, everyone. I want to thank everyone for the support I received the past 2 weeks. Yes, indeed, Daniel. You've been in our thoughts and prayers.
Yes.
Antoine Codes is here. Good evening, everyone. Good to see you, Antoine.
So another ASU guy. Hey, Mo, what do you think about this Mississippi State, Arizona State game? It's actually like a sneaky good one for the Big 12, too. We're not going to really go over that too much tonight, probably. But who do you have in that game, Mississippi State, ASU?
Is that at Mississippi State?
That game is going to be – is that going to change your mind?
That's going to change my mind. If it's at Mississippi –
It's in Tempe.
Yeah, I'll take Mississippi State then.
Oh, it's in Tempe, so Arizona State. It's at Arizona State.
Oh, it's at Arizona State. We'll get into spreads and all that stuff, but I would probably take the favorite in that, whether it's ASU or Mississippi State. Caleb Ramirez is here. He's a Buckeye. He's not a Sun Devil.
Hey.
Glenn Luman's checking in from the Philippines. That's right. Big 12 Mafia show and College Football Mafia are international.
Woo! That's right. We're in Europe. We're in Asia. Absolutely.
Hi, Big 12 Mafia world. College football is around the corner. Can't wait for games to start. 11 days, I think. Or maybe a little less than 11 days.
Yeah, I mean, we're right there. I can't wait for that crowd.
Yeah. A week from Saturday, guys. Let's see here. Bob Swanger's in the house. Good to see you, Bob.
What's up, Bob?
Sergeant Pickles is in the house.
Pickles.
Leader of the Big 10 Mafia. Good to see you, Pickles. Shonsky's in the house. Good afternoon, everyone. Good to see you, Shonsky. Clint Moses, our Beaver fan, says, wow, hair looks fabulous.
Ah, thank you much. Got it cut a couple days ago. Fresh and clean look. Appreciate it.
Yes, it looks very nice. It's no Moen Hawk, but it looks nice.
It's not. I don't have a mohawk. I've got a weird shape and head, Mo, and I can't pull that kind of crap off.
Stephen Veit says, hi, hey guys, how are we doing tonight? Doing well, Stephen. Go Bobcats. Mo and you now a Texas Tech fan. I've always had a soft spot in my heart for Texas Tech. I like the uniforms. Vox Quindaro is here. He says, good evening, everyone, and rock chalk. If my mouse would work here. There we go. Got a review of that Woodford Reserve rye. It was very good. It took a little acclimating to get used to the taste of it as compared to a Canadian whiskey, a Canadian rye, but it was very good. I actually had the last two shots. My buddy came over, and he's a big Woodford Reserve bourbon fan. So he tried it out, and he said he was very impressed with it as well. So I don't know that it's going to replace Crown in my lineup, but it was very good. Thank you.
Good recommendation, Vox. Mm-hmm.
I'm always looking for good whiskey recommendations, Chad. If anybody has a good whiskey they want me to try and I can get my hands on it, I will try it. Let's see. Greg Pflugar's in the house. Hope you're feeling better, Greg. We've got a lot of people who are under the weather. Texas State is going to defeat Arizona State.
That's going to be a tough one for Arizona State.
Yeah.
I know Greg is really hot and high on Texas State. He thinks that they're going to make the playoff. And so this could certainly happen. Texas State could win a game. And I wonder what the spread's going to be for that one.
Yeah, we're going to have to pull up the spreads earlier. I was talking with you guys, and what we'll probably do this season is we will do a college pick'em on ESPN, and we'll do that against the spread. So it'll all be against the spread. J-Baller 54 in the house, 16 days for the Hawks next Thursday. And finally, the Big Lubbock says, hello, Mafia.
So how'd we do while I was gone?
Did well.
We did shout-outs. We did shout-outs, whiskey review, haircut compliments, kind of ran the gamut.
I love it. So just a minute, there's 50 people watching. I'm just going to do this right now. So everybody knows, or maybe doesn't know, I've had some health challenges. But the Mafia family, as we are, where everybody's going to step up and help with some of those challenges. I'm going to have surgery on my tongue. I don't know what that's going to look like afterwards. They tell me I'm going to be able to talk, but we'll find out. So there might be some shows that I normally would be on that I won't be there. But just so everybody knows, the prognosis is good. Got to go through this surgery and then blah, 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 blah. So we'll keep you posted. But there really shouldn't be any change. It's just they won't have me to push around anymore for a while, I think. I should be here tomorrow. Are we doing a show tomorrow night, Moen?
I don't know. We can. Mr. Monkey says you're not on ignore. I don't know if I missed you, brother. It wasn't my point. Wasn't my intent to miss you.
You're not being ignored, Monkey.
No way.
No way.
Welcome in, Mr. Monkey.
Yeah, we would not ever mute you. Or, sorry, block you. That would not happen. All right, let's jump in here. I saw Greg pop in. So we got PATC, the king of social media and college football realignment and news. That would be Greg Pflugar's in the house. Great to see you, Greg. I appreciate it. Thank you very much for your kind words. I appreciated talking to you the other night. All right, let's jump right in. Let's just go right to the Big 12 picks, shall we? Does that sound good to you guys? Let's do that. Let's not screw around tonight. Let's get right into the action.
Let me pull my sheet up so I remember who I picked.
Oh, okay, that's good.
Gotta do that, Moan.
All right, here we go. Let's see. I want to make sure I get the right screen. Yep, here we go. All right. Oh, wait a second. We have a $5 super chat. Let's not forget Ryan Willie in the house saying $5 super chat. Thank you so much, Ryan. I really, really appreciate it. It's been a week since COVID hit, but I have a question.
Oh, he needs some milk.
What the heck is that, Moan?
I don't know what that was.
I'll turn the volume down a little bit.
Except for Stroud, why Ohio State QBs don't do well in the NFL? Oh, wow. Coming out.
Usually because they get drafted to bad teams or they're
is that
degenerate
it?
gamblers.
Is that always the problem?
Yeah. Justin Fields got drafted to Chicago. What did you want him to do?
Hey,
you
look,
think Caleb Williams is going to do any better in Chicago?
I don't know.
I think so, but he's got weapons.
There's all kinds of quarterbacks that come out of the college ranks and win. You don't have to be on the best team.
No. If you want a quarterback, go to the Big 12. The Big 12 produces quarterbacks.
That's true. Historically, that is true. Anyway, let's move right along. All right, let's get to our picks, and then we'll kind of talk about how we look at things, and then we'll talk about how the aggregate is for the team. Let me get this off there. All right, here we go. So we're going to start. This is the amalgam of all the Mafia family picks, okay? That's all 6 of us. That includes us, Rock and Rant. We have Becky Go Huskies, and then, of course, Sergeant Pickles. So this is the aggregate of all of our picks. First, we're going to start with the aggregate is Utah. For me, that's wrong.
Whoa. Hey, come on.
I have them in the top 3. But tell us why Utah should be number 1, Ute.
Oh, this one's an easy choice right here. Cam Rising's coming back from a 7th straight year. Last 2 seasons, he played the full season. Pac-12 champions over Oregon, USC, and all the schools in the Pac-12. I mean, he's a proven winner. He's gritty. This team's the most talented team Utah's ever had. The receiving depth is there. There's 3-4 deep tight end. I mean, it's absolutely loaded. And this team's looking at 10-2 would be a disappointing season for the Utes. We're looking at 11-1. A lot of people think 12-0. I'm serious. So we will see what happens. But if it's less than 10-2, it's going to be a complete failure this year for the Utes.
And then I'll let Moen ask a question. But just to be clear, we're going over our picks here, but this is not – we don't grill each other for our picks, right? We're just teasing. So don't take anything we say, out of context. We definitely support each other on these things. So go ahead, Moen. What do you think about Utah's number 1?
I didn't have number 1 in my poll. I had him in the top 3 as well. But like I said, it's Cam Rising. If anything happens to Cam Rising, it's out the window. And with his injury history, I was hesitant to put them at number 1 just based on Cam Rising's injury history.
Yeah, I would say the exact same thing. They're on my list. I believe they're number 2 between Kansas State and Oklahoma State. They could be easily number 1 if Cam Rising was a junior and hadn't had back-to-back years with catastrophic knee injuries. So
he is a junior bomber. He really is.
He's an 8-year junior. I know.
I'm not kidding you. He's a
junior. I know. He's an 8-year junior. Yeah. Anyway,
I want him back next year. Come on, we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Do you really want him back? Don't you want Zach? Tell you what, Zach Wilson's Isaac Wilson, Zach Wilson's little brother. He's a 4-star. He's at Utah right now. He's number 2 quarterback. You really would rather keep Cam around another year if he gets hurt again and not just go to Zach? Because I guarantee you, Isaac. I think Isaac wants to start. And I think if you bring Cam back, he could transfer. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, definitely so. I mean, if Cam is healthy and the Utes win the Big 12 this year, then I'm wanting Rising back. I mean, the Utes are going to be favored again next year. So let's do it again. I mean, if Rising gets hurt this year, then I agree with you. Put Isaac Wilson in. New regime. Whittingham probably retires soon after and stuff. Yeah. But, hey, Rising and Whittingham are tied at the hip. So if Rising returns next year, the Whittingham's he's coming back too. Almost guaranteed.
I would agree with you. I think they're sort of tied. If they win the Big 12 and win a playoff game, they're both gone, I think, at the end of the season. I think coach and quarterback are gone. Just really quick, just reviewing where we had picks. Like I said, I had Utah number 2. Moen had Utah Let's see here. Let me get to Moen had him number 2. Pickles had Utah number 1. Becky had, Oklahoma State, so not Utah. And Rock and Rant had Utah. So in the aggregate, Utah gets the pick. All right, let's move to number 2. Oklahoma State. Again, I've already told you they were my number 3. Tell everybody why Oklahoma State is justified to be number 2.
Consistency and Ollie Gordon. That program has had good consistency. As much as people might dislike Mike Van Gundy, he said some not so good things about DUIs and drunk driving.
Yes.
But the man knows how to coach football. And they've had a solid defense there in the past. I'm sure they'll have a solid defense again this year. And Ollie Gordon's probably the favorite to win the Heisman Trophy this year. If he stays healthy and plays every single game this season, he's going to end up in New York at that ceremony.
I agree. What do you think, about Oklahoma State?
Oklahoma State's offense, their rushing offense is completely loaded. They've got almost all of their offensive line returning. They've got one of the most experienced rosters, might be in the A4. Ollie Gordon. Everything that Moen said is true. They've got really the biggest Achilles heel, though, is Bowman and plus the secondary. So Bowman, is he going to be able to take care of the football? Quarterback Alan Bowman. So we'll see. If he throws a lot of interceptions, it could really swing things the wrong way for Oklahoma State. But if he plays conservative football and they lean on the run, they're going to win a ton of games and they're going to be in contention 100%.
Now, remind me, does Utah go to Oklahoma State or do they have them at home this year?
They are going to Stillwater and Boone Pickens Stadium.
That's
here.
a tough place to play.
Yep. That is one game. There's 2 games on the Ute schedule that are circled. Utah fans are a little scared of, and that's Oklahoma State and the last game of the season, UCF. Those are away games. Utah struggles in away games. New atmospheres. They're going to be juiced. It's going to be a tough game.
I think Oklahoma State is an easy consensus top 3. So I think this is a very valuable pick. Let's go to some comments here as we've been going. Please, again, continue to leave your comments and questions. We will definitely try to get to them as we do this rundown. Just so everybody knows, this is a team pick. This is consensus. So we each have individual positions on each one of these schools, but we also want to hear from you guys. So I'm just going to run to a few things. Clint Moses, I wake up every morning thinking this. Hawks should have just ran the damn ball. It's true. Clint, you and I feel the pain, brother. Every day I feel that. Let's see. Peek around the corner. Greg Flugar says Iowa State's number 8. Whoa, should be number 3. Look at Greg. All right.
Hey, check it out. Actually, on the list that I produced for this, I have Iowa State as number 3, Greg.
Do you?
I agree with you. The Iowa State is 3 on the list, but a lot of folks don't think so.
Well, Greg says we may be onto something or maybe not. So
I had him at 5. So
okay, I think I had him at 4 or 5. Let's see. I want to be very open and honest about my pick. By the way, all these picks should be available on our Discord. If you go to our Discord, you can see and participate in putting in your own picks for this season. Let's see. I had him 7. So I was one of the guys bringing the percentage down, evidently.
Yeah, blame Nate.
Somebody put him way low. Who the heck put him way low to put at 8?
Not me. I had him at 7. Let's see here. Sergeant Pickles says, Greg, to make the Big 12 championship, ISU needs 10 wins. Okay. All right. We'll have to see. Daniel Gygax, Moen, that's a big prediction to have Gordon win the Heisman.
Clarify, I said he's the Heisman favorite and he'll attend the ceremony. I did not say he'd win.
I agree. If he stays healthy and plays all 12 games, he will be in New York. I agree with that.
Agreed.
Let's see. Stephen Vitt says Utah versus Oklahoma State is a true coin flip game.
Sure is.
I think it's that classic. You get the home 3 points. And I think that's where that's going to be at. It'll be a pick 'em.
It's going to be so close, right?
Yeah.
It's a nail biter, though.
Completely agree. JBaller54 says ESPN listed the top 25 explosive offenses. Arizona and OSU 12 and 13th, KU 15th, and KSU 20th. So we're talking about explosive offenses, sort of in reverse order from what we've got right now. So that's interesting. Let's see here. Mr. Monkey says 3-5-7, and they're 8th. Yeah, I don't know.
Right? I know, monkeys. Like, who the heck put him at 16?
I don't know. Let's see. Let's do a quick.
It's like a Rock and Rants picks. Yeah, we got to see.
Okay,
those.
let's look. Rock and Rant was last. Let's see. He's listed on here last. He's got Iowa State 10. Okay.
Right,
and Becky Go Huskies has Iowa State 8. So that right there brings down your percentage. Pickles has them as 9. So that's what drags it down. Us 3 were higher and they were lower.
Yep.
Anyway, thank you very much, Monkey. Appreciate everybody's comments. We'll keep cruising along here. Let's go to Kansas State number 3. I would just say about Kansas State that I think they are loaded. They were a great team last year. Their quarterback is phenomenal. And this could be the year K-State makes it to the playoff. That's my prediction. I have them number 1 on my picks. What do you guys think about Kansas State?
Yeah, 100%. K-State is absolutely loaded. They're so explosive. Avery Johnson, Giddens, Edwards. I mean, these guys are just going to bust off 50-yard touchdowns, like back and forth, back and forth. This is the most explosive K-State's been. I'm serious, since Michael Bishop. Like back in the late 90s.
Yeah.
Like K-State is so dang explosive. And so they're coached well. Kleiman coaches these guys well. They're going to win a lot of games. They're going to be in contention. They could certainly get a playoff berth, even like an at-large playoff berth. K-State is that one school I could see that maybe sneaks in the playoff, even if they don't win the Big 12.
Moen?
I agree. I think Kansas State's explosive. I think they've got a solid defense. I think it has to be this year for them because I think some big coaching jobs are going to open up and people are going to look at that coach and possibly steal him away from Kansas State in the offseason. So I think this is a boomer bust season for them. If they're going to make the playoffs, it's got to be this year.
I would say of the top 4 in the Big 12, the top 6 teams, and whatever Iowa State is, say they're a little bit higher, all 6 teams could win the conference. I think there's you can see paths for each one of these schools to win this conference at 11-1 or 10-2. Don't you guys agree with that?
Yeah, I think it goes 10 deep. I think you can go to TCU and say TCU can make a run. Texas Tech can make a run. Certainly Iowa State. I mean, really, any of those teams. I just don't see Colorado doing it, and like Baylor. But I think 10 teams deep. I mean, it could happen, certainly.
I don't know if you guys can hear this, but my house is getting pounded on by a microburst. So if I go dark, it's because I lost power. Okay, that's all I'm saying. All right, let's go to another one, and then we'll go to people's comments. Let's go to Kansas. Let's see. Why don't you tell us about Kansas? Actually, you did Kansas State. Moen, why don't you do Kansas for us?
I like Kansas a lot. I like their quarterback a lot. I've already said they're my sneaky dark horse to make the playoffs. It's all going to be on the quarterback's shoulders, though. If he gets injured, he's spent a lot of time on and off the bench with injuries. So he's got to stay healthy. He's got to stay upright. But if he does, I think he's got the talent and the leadership that he can drive them to the championship game and to a playoff spot.
Can you guys hear this?
I can't hear it, Nate.
Oh, my goodness. It's so loud. Okay, go ahead.
So Kansas is an interesting case study because Kansas is talented on the perimeter. Very, very good receivers, very, very good secondary, but their trench play is horrendous, guys. Like Jalen Daniels is a playmaker and stuff. They're going to score points, but their defensive line for KU is going to hemorrhage the run game. So when they play heavy run teams, like an Oklahoma State is going to absolutely dominate them on the ground. They don't have any defensive line depth. They've lost talent and quality there. They're going to get ran over all year long. I just don't see them actually they've got a pretty soft schedule, though. Really soft schedule in the Big 12. So maybe that will boon them, but they are not one of the most talented teams in the Big 12. They might be there at the end, but that defensive line is going to hold them back.
In my picks, I had Kansas, Arizona, West Virginia, all the same. You just flipped them around a little bit. So I think Kansas could easily win the conference, or they could go 8-4, even 7-5. It's that type of a team this year for Kansas, I think. Then their quarterback has an injury history too.
Their schedule, though, I mean, we should pull up their schedule and look at that because it is really favorable.
We can do that.
Let's do that. Like for KU, it's worth seeing.
Okay, let me look at it just a second.
Okay. But they are very, very
minute to
at
type
the wide receiver position and at the cornerback and secondary position. They're going to be one of the best Big 12 schools.
Okay,
and
so let's
really the trench play.
let's see. Football schedule. This is weird because it doesn't start with BYU. It's like upside down. What the hell is this? Oh, I see. Sorry. Let me read this. Okay, so they start with Linwood Lions. That's a throwaway game. That's nothing we need to talk about. We go to Illinois, and they're traveling to Illinois.
Yep.
What would you say for that game? I don't know anything about Illinois. I got to admit.
It's a win. Burt puts good defenses on the field, but I still think that's a win for Kansas. Illinois just doesn't have the talent.
Okay. All right. UNLV is a win. West Virginia in West Virginia.
Toss up. No, I might give the edge to West Virginia.
I'd probably go to West Virginia on that one.
Yeah.
Ute, what do you think?
Yeah, I think West Virginia. Close.
Okay. They're both great teams. I think it's going to be a good game. TCU at Kansas.
Kansas.
I think Kansas wins that.
Yeah, I would agree with you. Let's see here. We go Kansas Jayhawks at Arizona State. That's a win.
Kansas.
That's a win.
Yeah, Houston at Kansas. That's a win.
This is a big one.
At Kansas State. So in-state rivalry, Ute.
Yeah. Yeah, K-State needs that game. It's going to be huge for both teams. I mean, they both be jockeying for Big 12 title contention. That's a massive game. I think K-State probably pulls that out. It's at K-State. It's going to be a close one, though. It's going to be a dang good football game.
You go from that to Iowa State at Kansas.
At home. Yeah, I think that KU probably sneaks that one out at home. But that's I think that the home games are all at Arrowhead.
They are at Arrowhead. Yeah, they're
I mean, that's
under construction. Their stadium is under construction. Let's see here at BYU. Actually, that's one of my possible upset picks. Having Kansas come to BYU, I think BYU's got a little revenge in them. It all depends how their quarterback play is by that time of the season. Then Colorado at Kansas. I'm going to say Kansas wins that one.
KU wins that one. Colorado's going to be so beaten up by this time that I just don't see them really being that competitive.
And then Kansas at Baylor.
I mean, see, there's 3 or 4 tough games, but you're looking at 8 wins minimum, I think, for KU. Okay. Probably 8-4 or 9-3 season.
I think that's totally fair. So Kansas number 4 seems like it looks good. How about Arizona at number 5? I had those flipped, by the way. Arizona at number 5, Ute.
Moen, why don't you give your take on Arizona first?
I like Arizona. I know you has some reservations, but they've got the quarterback. They got McMillan back. They're always going to have a puncher's chance. That is an explosive offense. They can be down 14 points in the fourth quarter with 8 minutes left and come back because they've got that puncher's chance with those 2 offensive weapons. So I actually like Arizona. I didn't have them as high as 5th, but I like Arizona. I think that they're always going to be in the fight.
What do you think, Bomber? What about the Wildcats?
I had Arizona at 4.
Yep.
So I think Fafita is going to play well. He didn't look like he was a quarterback that would get hurt the way he played his game. So, but we don't know what we're going to get out of Arizona or Arizona State, to be honest. That's my opinion.
I think there's probably 7 or 8 wins on that schedule, but I think Arizona is by far the most overrated team in the Big 12 conference. It's not even close. I don't think they're the 5th best team. I think that would put them more like 8 or 9, maybe 10.
Okay.
Losing Jed Fish was massive. If you see how Noah Fafita played last year, and the drops that he did in the unorthodox Jed Fish offense, guys, he was going out of shotgun and doing a 7-step drop. He was playing back and dropping back 15, almost 20 yards and throw into that receiving core that he had last year. They lost Jacob Cowan to the pros. They've got McMillan, but I'm telling you, with the new coaching staff, they're going to be vulnerable in the trenches. I am not betting anything on Arizona this year. I think that they had their heat last year. I think they're going to eat a bunch of losses this year.
I'm just looking at the picks right now. Sergeant Pickles had Arizona at 6. Becky had Arizona at 2. So what are we missing here? Because they're also Pac-12 people. And Rock and Rant, just so we're all in the open, Rock and Rant had Arizona at 6. So what are we missing? I mean, most people in general have them pretty high. What is the one thing that could eat them alive? Is it just depth?
It's the offensive line play.
Okay.
And also, I mean, the line was crummy last year. This year, again, new coaching staff. They've got Fafita. They've got Mbalen. That's what everyone knows. Nobody else can name another player on their team.
That's true.
Nobody else knows anything about their other positions. So,
Yeah.
like, they've got 2 stud players, but when's the last time a quarterback and a wide receiver won a bunch of games and got to, like, a college football playoff?
Well, they
got
did.
no trench
Colorado won, 4 games last year?
Exactly. So I think that Arizona is more like a Colorado of last year
Okay.
than what a lot of people think that they could be, just because they don't have the depth, they don't have the quality, and they don't have the overall team, and they've got a new coaching staff with a different philosophy. And like the Jed Fish offensive philosophy with Fafita was perfect. And Brennan's not Jed Fish. Jed Fish was a genius, an offensive genius. He's a quarterback.
Right.
So we'll see what happens.
I hope they're not very good. I need some teams ahead of BYU be sort of middling for BYU to win some games. So
Yeah.
I like Arizona. I have nothing against Arizona or Arizona State. I just think the Big 12 schedule is tougher than I think the Pac-12 schools think. I know I've been saying that for a year, and Ute sort of shrugs and for this up. But the deeper you look at this Big 12 conference, especially road games, very difficult to win. So
yeah, I think the worst thing for Arizona is their defense. I think their defense is going to get tired because I think that offense is going to score fast.
that's fair. I think
I can
that's fair.
see plotting Big 12 style running game, taking a 6-minute possession, the offense getting the ball back and scoring within 2 minutes. And then the defense has to trot back out there. So that could wear on a defense really quick.
The forgotten man of this Arizona squad, Jacob Cowan, guys, was so dang good for Arizona. He lit the Utes up every freaking time we played that guy. Like, he is gone. He's in the pros. He was more of like a kind of quick player and everything. He's off the roster. They do not have that type of player now. They have McMillan, but they've lost a lot of quality off that team last year, and the coaching staff, and they don't have depth. Like, I just don't see it.
I think the more you talk and you give us your background on Arizona, I was looking at the headlines and a lot of the recruiting stuff I followed in the offseason. Your breakdown, especially considering the offensive and defensive lines, I think should sway some opinions. Let's get to some comments. People are watching, and let's see what they're thinking about what we're going through. Timothy Green, a member, says, I wish West Virginia had Arizona in Morgantown. Jet lag is a real thing, y'all. Let me tell you. We know it is. We know it is, Timothy. Clint Moses says, weird things happen in the desert. Whoa, Oregon State knows that. Oh, they've ruined Oregon State's year a couple times, I think. Let's see here. Earl Carr, good to see you, Earl. As much as it pains me, I would flip Houston and BYU. BYU still does not have the horses. We'll get to BYU in a little bit, Earl, but there's not a lot to disagree with what you're saying right there. Let's see. Sergeant Pickles checks in again, says Arizona is still talented. I have them 8-4. They have easy games down the stretch. Well, I wouldn't.
They do.
I don't think the BYU game's going to be easy for them. BYU always plays the Pac-12 schools.
Is that a Lavelle Edwards?
Yes.
In Provo. That is going to be a tough one for them.
Yeah. Last time they come up here, BYU worked them pretty good. So we'll have to see. Where's Dave? Where's my Arizona Dave Wildcat? I needed him in here to tell me why I'm wrong. Timothy Green again says, I don't think Utah is going to be as good as they think they are this year. I think Oklahoma State, it's going to be one of them teams to beat for sure. And a lot of that's to do with coaching. Thank you, Timothy. Appreciate it. One last thing. I want to get this in from Stephen Vitt, checking in, saying only truthful things. Colorado, too much talk, not enough action. Buff's got to get it done on the field. I'll be honest, and we're going to get to Colorado in a second, but I had Colorado way too high on my list. I put Colorado at 10. After this last week and a half in Boulder and all the stuff that's come out about the team, they might be down by Arizona State at the end of the year. I do not see a team that's ready to win. So we'll talk about that in just a second, Stephen. All right, let's talk about my favorite dark horse, and it might be everybody's, is West Virginia. I think they're going to be very good. They return, I believe, 18 or 19 off of the team from last year. They have Garrett Green back. Their coach, yes, he's almost been fired 2 seasons in a row, but they made it through last season. So in my opinion, I think West Virginia is probably, of all these schools, the one that is the best dark horse to jump and either win the conference or get that ad hoc into the playoff at the end of the year. I don't care who wants to go first. Moen, you're closest. Tell us why West Virginia should be ranked number 1.
Because they've got Garrett Green, and I think Garrett Green is a Heisman Trophy candidate quarterback.
Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
If he
Speaking
stays
nothing but
healthy,
truth.
I think he's a dynamic playmaker. Really dynamic. They've got Penn State at home this year. I think that's going to set the tone. If they pull the upset and beat Penn State at home, watch out, Big 12, because they mean business. And I listen, I think 1 through 6, there can be an argument made for all those teams. But I think West Virginia is a dark horse. I think a lot of people aren't picking them. And I think Garrett Green might be in New York. He might be the quarterback. He might take a Baker Mayfield type season here in West Virginia.
I love West Virginia's talent. Garrett Green is a star. He is so dual threat. I could see him be in New York too. I'm with you, Moen. The Penn State game is massive for this team because they've got a freaking tough schedule, guys. Like one of the hardest, like maybe the hardest in the Big 12, because they've got Pitt, they've got Penn State, and then I'm just going to read off some other names here. So West Virginia this year, again, Pittsburgh, Penn State, they've got KU, Iowa State, Kansas State, Arizona, UCF, and Texas Tech, in addition to Pitt and Penn State. That's tough.
That is
They've got a tough road. So can they squeak? And this is one of the most talented rosters in the Big 12. Can they squeak 9 wins out of that? Can they get into contention with that schedule? I just don't know. It's really difficult.
Isn't that the challenge that we have in most of these Big 12 schools, is we come to that point where, like, we can see 8 or 9 pretty easy, but it's that top next 3 or 2 or 1 that really gets difficult for the league, right? I think West Virginia fits that exactly to the T.
100%. Yeah, 100%. They have got to beat KU. KU's coming in September 21st, right after Pittsburgh, right after non-conference game. Like, they've got to win that game to get off to the right way in the Big 12, because then they've got Oklahoma State soon after at Oklahoma State. So, I mean, it's just a wicked road. The Mountaineers. I cannot believe they got seriously. Yormark did them dirty. Dirty.
They got the schedule that Utah should have gotten.
That's what a lot of people think. That yes,
Utah was given a gift. Go out and win a playoff game for the Big 12. Thank you, Utah. Yeah. That's what this season is for Utah's schedule. All right. I think we've fawned on West Virginia enough. Probably not enough for Timothy and everybody else, but we're going to move on. I think they're definitely in the top 6, and I could see them winning the conference. I think all 3 of us could. UCF is kind of an enigma, right? I'm not a fan of their coach. He won a national championship and everything, but I don't know. There's something about him that twists me wrong. And I think their stadium is getting better. The Bounce House is a great place to play. It's still only 42,000 people, though. I mean, it's similar to Utah, frankly. So I don't know what to make of them. They're getting 4- and 5-star athletes. Are they being coached? That's my only question. So you think, in my opinion, UCF at 7 is perfect. What do you guys think about that?
Go ahead, Moen.
I like UCF a lot. I just don't like them a lot this year. I think next year and the year after is really going to be the years for them. They're recruiting really well. They've got KJ Jefferson that came in as a transfer.
They do, from Arkansas. Yep.
Yeah. So
very
they've got
athletic.
a good quarterback back there. Gus Malzahn can coach. He does have a national championship.
Yeah.
A legitimate national championship. So,
well, sort of.
Well, okay. If it was today, it was NIL deal.
It was. Yes, it was.
But yeah, I like UCF. I think this isn't the year for them. I think next year and the following year, they're going to be bad for the Big 12 because it's good. They're going to beat up on the Big 12, and I think they could be the dark horse to win a playoff game.
I agree with you.
Be the first Big 12 team to do that, I think.
They could. Ute?
I like UCF this year. I like them in the future even more. Mo, and everything you've said, I agree with. KJ Jefferson is a complete stud. He's so good at the dual threat. They've got Harvey back there. That's one of the most under-discussed running backs in the Big 12 and in the nation. They're going to be explosive guys. Their offense is going to be explosive. It's hard to win in Orlando. The Bounce House is loud. It's raucous. It's far away, too. And that's why Utah is not looking forward to that game on a Friday night, right? Like on the Black Friday game.
At the end of the season. Yep.
Yeah, it's going to be a really tough one. I think this team is going to be in contention. I think the schedule is very favorable. The Big 12 schedule, it's pretty soft. They've got a game in the middle of the season that's a big one. That's versus Florida, the Gators and UCF. It's an opportunity that UCF might not get that often playing at a school like Florida. If they go in there, I believe it's at the Swamp, and they win in the Swamp, that seems just like a momentum boost, right? Like for that program, that's going to be a big defining game for the Big 12 season. If they get that, then watch out in future years. But this team's going to be in it in the hunt. And shoot, it might come down to Utah UCF on Black Friday, coming down to see who's going to make the Big 12 championship game. So I'm a believer.
It's quite possible. And again, I think all three of us respect where the program's headed. Certainly the recruiting's been fantastic. I'm kind of with Moen, though. I think maybe they're a year away. I'm not. KJ Jefferson is an athletic freak. Mm-hmm. I know this. BYU played him twice, and he lit him up both times. So total respect for the quarterback. They're going to have to do something different. The game they lost, was it TCU or Baylor, where they gave the game away at the end? They were up. It was just,
It was Baylor, I think.
Yeah. Anyway, it's just I don't know how that happens with a coach that's won national championships. So it's kind of a prove it year for me for UCF. But they could win it. I agree. Iowa State, we've already fawned on them a little bit. I think we all maybe agree they're a little bit low. Maybe it was stack ranked a little bit lower. But how could Iowa State win this conference, Moen?
Matt Campbell. I think Matt Campbell's a fantastic coach. I know somebody in the chat conundrum says he doesn't have a winning record against Iowa. I think that's going to be a game that Iowa loses. I like Iowa State to beat Iowa. It's a rivalry game. Funny things happen that way. I just think Iowa State's got a very complete team, offense and defense. So I've got them top 5. I have them as number 5. But like I said, any of my top 6 picks, you could, pick them, and they could be a national or a Big 12 conference champion contender.
Iowa State plays the same brand of football as Utah. Iowa State, in a lot of ways, is Utah. Based on this year alone, though, Iowa State's like Utah with 90% of the talent and coaching. It really is. It's real similar. Iowa State's coming to Rice Eccles. It's going to be an absolute slugfest, dogfight. And that team's going to win a lot of games. They're rugged. They've got experienced quarterback in Rocco Becht. They've got talent a lot of places, but is that quality going to be enough to get there to the title game? I'm not sure. I just think that they lack that high-end quality talent to get to 10 wins. But there's definitely 7 wins on the schedule. We're saying there's 8 wins for a lot of these teams, like you said, Bomber. It's it seems like it, right?
Right.
It's like the pick for a lot of these. But again, Iowa State's kind of a mirror image of Utah in a lot of ways.
I have nothing but respect for Iowa State. Campbell is a fantastic coach. I think the team is, but we've seen. Look, I've talked about Big 12 stuff for decades, right? You always talked about the old rivalries in the Big 8 and then the Big 12 and all these. Iowa State was always in those conversations, but they were never in the top of the conversation. In the last 5 years, Iowa State has peaked twice to be picked overall to win the conference, and they didn't do it. Yeah. So that's the question mark that I just don't. They're kind of like a UCF or even Texas Tech. It's like, what are you going to get? That's my thought process when thinking about them. Let's get to some comments here, unless you guys want to follow up on that at all.
No, let's get to some comments.
Let's see it. Let's do it. Let's just jump right in. Conundrum, good to see you, man. Campbell and Fleck, overrated and overpaid. That's kind of.
Campbell's not overrated. Yeah. I don't think he's overrated at all.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe. Moen, do you want to add anything to that?
Now, I think Campbell took over an Iowa State program that was a laughing stock and made it a contender. You've got to give credit to anybody who can build a program. He's a program builder.
Okay.
Fleck, on the other hand, you're absolutely right.
Don't tell that. Don't tell that to Greg. Clint Moses, Iowa State is like Minnesota. I'm off both bandwagons. Okay. Thanks, Clint. Let's see. Mr. Monkey says KU ran all over UCF last year. UCF did not look up to the task, but they will get there.
They're certainly recruiting like it.
That is a fact. Nathan Campbell says, I think West Virginia is too low. Very fair.
Yep.
Very fair, Nathan. You could be right. You could be right. Big Lubbock says 1,000 yards. I think he's talking about what running back were we talking about just a minute ago?
Harvey? RJ Harvey?
No, Oklahoma State. I'm spacing.
Oh, Ollie Gordon.
Yeah, Ollie Gordon. Thank you. Ollie Gordon. He if that's what you're talking about, he could go for 1,600, 1,700, I think. Clint Moses again. ASU and UCF future recruiting looks bright. ASU's recruiting has always looked bright. They've always had top classes in recruiting. You can't put anything back on the field. I do not understand that. Timothy Green says TCU has Dana Holgerson as a consultant. I thought they fired him, but as a consultant, in other words, they brought him in to run the offense. Trust me, he is a great offensive coordinator, and that could mean trouble for the rest of the Big 12. I think not Dana Holgerson. I was thinking of somebody else. The TCU coach, Gary Patterson, got fired. Yeah. Well, thanks, Timothy. You may be right. Let's see here. Buckshot Kid. Good to see you, Buckshot Kid. West Virginia will travel 11,137.58 miles this year. Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. You can't hide that. Daniel Gygax, and that schedule isn't as bad as it looks. There is a bye between KU and OSU games in Arizona and Cincy. It's manageable. Whose schedule is he talking about there?
West Virginia.
West Virginia's, okay. Let's see here. Sergeant Pickles, if UCF knocks off Florida, look out.
That is going to be it's like a defining win for a program to really take the next level. Pickles just nailed it. I really think so, guys. Florida's going to be down. UCF might be favored in that game. That's going to be so big.
Yeah, if UCF knocks off Florida, Billy Napier will get fired on the field.
Yes, we've talked about that.
Into the locker room.
Yep. He'll be fired on the field. He might be fired before then. If they're 1-3,
he might be fired at halftime, depending on the score.
Yeah. Nathan Campbell says, I think Virginia Tech's too low. Virginia Tech, we haven't talked about. That's funny, though.
Georgia Tech.
Georgia Tech, Syracuse.
They got a 5-star recently.
Yeah, for sure. I saw that. Sergeant Pickle says, my worry with the Big 12 is that they beat each other up and have no shot at a second CFP team.
Certainly possible.
That's certainly possible. Yep, you're right. All right. We burned through the last ones. Arnon Gadd had a comment about Colorado that I wanted to address, just so he knows where he's getting equal time. I'm not sure where that went, Arnon Gadd, but I'll talk about it. You think we have we're overlooking Colorado? That may be. We very well may be overlooking Colorado. It's a show me year though for Dion. He's got the best team he's going to have probably ever at Colorado right now. If he doesn't win the conference with who he has, Shedeur, supposedly the best quarterback since, Roger Staubach, and Travis Hunter, I don't know what else you can do with what they have. So
there would be nothing better for this conference than to have Colorado win a bunch of games and make the playoffs. Just imagine the attention, the TV ratings and everything. It's best for the Big 12 conference for Colorado to be really good. So from that perspective, yeah, it'd be nice to have that. The thing is depth. Does Colorado have the depth? We haven't jumped into them yet. We'll get it. We'll jump into that in a few minutes.
Yeah. He says keep Colorado under the radar. Okay. I like to say that about BYU too, because I can't say anything else. All right, let's jump to the next one. Texas Tech, another school that could go 8-4 or 6-6. I like the program. I think they're fantastic. They're a good partner for BYU. Loved having them in the conference or in the stadium last year. I I don't know how do they climb this ladder? Who do they beat that's better? That's where I run into pick'em concerns.
They're really hard to predict. Like they've got Taj Brooks, their running back. They're going to have a really good running attack and everything. There's been a lot of QB turnover there, and Joey McGuire was like the coach that everyone was loving on last year, and it was just a really disappointing year last year for Texas Tech. And so you just don't know where they shake out. Are they at 5 wins? Are they at 7 wins? Somewhere in the middle? I just don't know. It's really hard to predict that. It's just too inconsistent with those guys.
Moen?
Yeah, I agree. I think Texas Tech last year came in and they were great expectations and they underperformed. And I think Joey McGuire, like you said, was everybody's darling last preseason, and it fell back to earth. They went, I think, just above 500. They couldn't get off the field in third downs.
Yeah.
I think the third down conversion rate was 70-some%.
That's how BYU beat them.
Yeah. If your defense can't get off the field in third down, guys, you're not going to win games. So that defense has to be improved.
You hit the nail on the head. That's how BYU beat them last year, is third downs. They couldn't get them off the field. And it was one of the few times where BYU just went out and was able to perform. So, I don't know how you mark that, but Texas Tech, at least at this point, I think that it's going to be a transition year. They need to get back to recruiting, and I don't see them challenging for the top 4. I don't know if you guys do, but
I don't.
Yeah.
Not this year.
Okay.
Not with that defense.
Yeah, I agree. Let's see. I'll get to that later, Timothy. All right, let's move to our next one. TCU, another school that could go 9-3, or it could go 5-7.
100%. Like if there is a shadow horse, like beyond a dark horse, it is this TCU team right here. This TCU squad is the most talented roster in the Big 12, guys. Based on the talent composite for 24/7, based on the recruiting rankings on the roster right now, this TCU team is the most talented in the Big 12.
Wow.
Josh Hoover's coming at quarterback. He's a good player. They're sneaky good, a little bit scary, and they could either win 4 games or 9 games, and you just don't know what. But I'm with you 100%, Bomber. Like, I'm a little bit leery of this TCU team. I just think that they could really pop again. We're not talking about them at all. They're getting zero talk. They were in the national championship 2 years ago. Like,
I know.
This team has the most talent and a good quarterback. Like, I don't know.
I have a thought on that, but I'll let Moen say it. I think I know why the TCU thing has been so understated. Go ahead, Moen.
Their defense is ranked outside the top 100 the last 2 years. They made up for it that playoff season by getting lots of turnovers, but that defense has been not good. And they went and brought in a new defensive coordinator, Andy Avalos. So I think if he can get that defense at least into the top 50, I think they've got a good shot. But I think it's really hard for a DC to come in his first year and do a 180 on a team. So I think it's probably a year or 2 away, and we'll see if Sonny Dykes lasts a year. They might 86 him,
So you just hit on the reason I think that nobody's talking about him is because their coach is Sonny Dykes. Yeah. He has no charisma. He's the happy-lucky guy. You go and talk to him in the bar. You might do other stuff with him off the field. But does he scream leadership to you? He's like the opposite of Kyle Whittingham. Even Kalani Sadaki has more charisma than Sonny Dykes. I think that's the problem that they have. The perception is low. Their recruiting numbers are ridiculous high. They're like top 10. Aren't they in the top 12? There's something like that. And they're not winning games. So the only thing I can put to that is there's something wrong with the coaching. I think it's all Sonny Dykes' fault.
Last year, they lost so much talent, guys, off the national championship squad. A ton of talent. But they have a lot of talent. Like, they've been recruiting a high level for the Big 12. They're going to get back. But, like, Bomber, you nailed it. Is Sonny Dykes the guy or somebody else the guy? Like, I don't believe in Sonny Dykes either. And, like, if they had better leadership and coaching, like, this school should be top 4 every single year, the way they recruit.
I agree.
I think it all comes down to that defensive system that they're installing. It's a new defensive system. Do the kids take to it? And I think it's going to take a year at least. And I don't know if Sonny Dykes can withstand another poor season with the level of recruitment they have going on there with NIL too.
Clint Moses says it's 65-7 still hurts.
Yeah, that was bad.
Just like just run the ball, Pete Carroll. That really tore the heart out of that Seahawks team that could have gone back to back to back. That was just a wasted opportunity. Anyway, Sergeant Pickles says he has TCU down bad too. So I think all three of us are like, what are we getting with TCU? They could go 12-0. They could surprise. They could go 12-0 and shock us all, and we'd all go, oh, okay, right? So we don't know what's going on there.
They're going to ruin somebody's season.
Oh, probably a couple.
They're gonna ruin some.
Yeah, Utah plays them, right?
Yeah, I know Utah plays them.
Look, they're like the antithesis of what Utah want. They do not want on any part of TCU. When they were in the Mountain West Conference, TCU owned Utah. Like literally, they took land up on the hill and built a building. That's how bad it was.
Utah has the overall series title, TCU, by like a game. But you're right. The last couple of matches, blowouts. TCU. Yeah, they strike fear in Utes. I'll tell you what, I'm looking at the schedule for TCU. The third to last week of the season, Oklahoma State's going to TCU.
Okay.
I'm telling you guys, somebody's going to get clipped by TCU when they shouldn't get clipped, and it might be Oklahoma State. And then Arizona's going the week after, so watch out.
Murderer's row for some of these schools. BYU has a horrible schedule. It's just horrible. They got the schedule Utah got. They got the schedule Utah should have had. Sorry. All right, let's talk about them. Let's just get it all out on. We're talking Colorado, okay? So let's do some ground rules here first. We're talking about Colorado, the football team. Okay, we're not talking about personalities. We're not talking about any of that social media crap when we're talking about Colorado. You come in and you clip this part out of our show. You put it out on social media saying we are hating on Colorado or we're doing other things. It's all lies, and we'll deny it to the end of the day. We're talking football, okay? So, Moen, how do you break down Colorado and why do you have them? Let's see where you put Colorado because I had them higher than I should have. Let me see here. Moen had Colorado. Yeah, you had them down at 13. So tell us what you think about this Colorado team.
I think it's going to be a hard transition from them to go from the Pac style to the Big 12 style. I think the Big 12 is stronger on the defensive and offensive lines. That offensive line last year was, I'll be generous and say porous. They said they've made improvements, but look, they're going up against like an Oklahoma State or a Utah. I think that offensive line gets pushed around. Shadur Sanders does not perform well when he is pressured. He throws bad picks. So I don't have a lot of faith in the Buffaloes just because of their line play on the offense and the defensive line. They can't get pressure on anybody. And offensively, they can't stop pressure. You're going to lose a lot of football games that way. I just don't think they're going to transition well to the Big 12.
Ute?
Yeah, let me share a screen so we can look at their schedule.
Ahead. You bet.
Here we go. Okay. So let's take a look at this, guys. I mean, this is absolutely brutal. Like, let's just be honest about it for any school in the Big 12. North Dakota State is a freaking difficult game. Like that game for anybody, I don't care if you're Colorado, Utah, or whoever, North Dakota State, the Bison are going to come play. That is no given for Colorado to win that game or any other A4 team because North Dakota State is so talented. Like they're so well coached. So tough one there. You're going to Nebraska. That's a very tough game with Raiola. That's a loss probably. You're going to beat Colorado State. You're going to beat Baylor. So you're sitting at 3-1 or 2-2. Going to UCF.
No.
Probably a loss. Right?
No, I don't think so.
So, like you said, best case scenario, they're 3-2. K-State's going to come into Boulder. I think K-State wins that. You're 3-3. Yep. Going to Arizona, you're probably not going to win that. 3-4. Cincy, 4-4. Texas Tech, a push-em game. You got Utah, Kansas, Oklahoma State. I just don't see 6 wins on the schedule. When you look at like who they're playing, and like the problem with the Buffs is the depth. It's not that like their starters are elite. Shadur Sanders is maybe the most talented quarterback in the nation. Really is. And Travis Hunter is one of the best players in the nation. He'll be in the Heisman hunt. They've got the best top-end players in the Big 12, no doubt about it. But the depth was the issue last year. It killed them. They did not address that enough. It's going to hurt them again, especially in the last 3 games of the season: Utah, Kansas, Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State's about the worst matchup in the world for Colorado. That's a run-first team, good offensive line. That's tough. It's really tough, guys.
Moen, you want to add? Bring that back up, Ute, just so we can.
Well, those last 3 games of
break
the
those
season
down really quick.
That's probably the toughest stretch for any team in the Big 12.
So if they're
3-game
so, let's just look at this again. The Arizona game, I agree with you. I don't know where they get 6 wins. I see 5 wins. So, and that's taking for granted they beat North Dakota State.
Yeah, like they've got Nebraska and North Dakota State.
Back to back. North Dakota State's going to beat them up.
If North Dakota State upsets Colorado, I mean, this thing can go off the rails.
Well, let's get to some comments here. We got Colorado fans in the house, so we want to represent them and their opinions. First of all, Replica says the backtracking is going to be so funny to watch in real time.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned, Replica. I'm curious what he means by backtracking. If I get my guess wrong, I'll just say, "Oh, I got it wrong." I'm not sure where the backtracking comes in. I think he has to overperform. Dion has to overperform this year to prove his methodology. I don't know how else to take
if
that.
Colorado can win 10 games with this schedule, they will be in the playoff.
Oh,
I
know
they don't
for
win the
sure.
Big 12. They play all 5 ranked Big 12 preseason teams. They've got North Dakota State, Nebraska, non-conference, and you also got UCF. Like, this thing's stacked. So if you win 10 games, you're in the playoff, 100%.
Replica follows that up by saying so many people are projecting their agendas and securities on Colorado. I'm not sure where that comes from. They're going to be much better than people realize, and I'll be there to serve you your crow. Okay, Replica. Tell you what, but let's do a bet before the game, Replica, on the show. BYU doesn't play Colorado this year, but we can do a bet on any of the bigger games, Arizona, Utah, and let's have a bet about it. I'd love to bet you about something. That'd be fun. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. At the end of the day,
the schedule is really tough, and like the Replica, maybe you can answer this too. But like the issue with the Buffs roster is the depth. Like the starting quality is really, really elite, 100%. But like what the depth, like when you go down to the middle and the late in the season, like that's just hard for any team to come up with it. So maybe there's more depth than we realized, but that was the issue last year, and it doesn't seem like that's been addressed. So maybe we can learn something though.
There you go. Okay. Moen, you want to add anything to Colorado before we move on?
No, I think we've said enough about Colorado.
Okay. Probably spent a little bit more time on than we should have. Baylor. In fact, let's just do the last 5 because I have them all pretty much equal. Baylor, BYU, Cincinnati, Houston, Arizona State. Let's just say it right now. If you were to pick one of these 5 to overperform and get to 9 wins, which school is it and why?
To get to 9 wins?
9 wins.
I don't see it. I'm sorry. I can't pick one of those teams to get to 9 wins.
Okay, let's say 8 then.
I can't pick any of those teams to get to 8
Let's say
wins.
7 then. I'm trying to generate a conversation here. Let's say
7 would be Baylor. I think
Okay.
Baylor could maybe get to 7.
And why?
Yeah.
I think that they're a decent enough team. They've got talent on offense, but they're kind of shackled with Dave Aranda. I mean, last year they went 3-9.
Yeah.
If they can get to 6-6 this year, I still think Dave Aranda's fired. I think it's his last season there. I think he knows that. I think the kids know that. I think they're probably going to check out halfway through the season. So I just don't have a lot of faith in any of those teams.
Okay, Ute.
Baylor, I don't think they get to 7 wins, but for the exact same reasons that Moen mentioned. Baylor, the talent on that roster is pretty good as far as the recruiting rankings and everything. I mean, Aranda, I'm not a big believer in Aranda anymore, and I don't think that he probably lasts outside of this year. But if any teams could do it, Baylor's very up and down. They pull some runs when unexpectedly. So Baylor's the team there. think BYU, out of all those teams, is going to have the best defense for sure.
Definitely.
I think Jay Hill is a stud. I think that Jay Hill is going to be the BYU coach next year, Palmer.
I'm with you.
Probably best for program too, for the future of the program. He's a stud defensive coordinator. They're going to play some nasty defense. It's hard to win in Provo. So BYU is going to be better than you think, and they're going to be hard to beat at home.
I agree with both of you. I think BYU, I'm not picking Baylor. I am picking BYU. Yeah, I'm a homer. But I also think that there has been some development there. They would have won 7-8 games last year if they had a decent quarterback. That's bottom line. They gave away 2 games, Oklahoma and Oklahoma State. You can crow about it all you want, but BYU had both those teams down and should have beat them with a good quarterback. So it's going to be on the quarterback. If the quarterback doesn't play, and I don't care which one it is, doesn't play well, BYU might win 4 games, and then for sure Kalani's gone. So let's just hope BYU overperforms. That's all I can say.
Can we just do a quick snapshot,
sure.
just to give overview of the Cincinnati, Houston, and Arizona?
Sure. Go ahead if you want to. Go ahead.
Simone, do you want to speak to any of those programs? We've got.
I'll speak to Cincinnati. Cincinnati, I think they made the wrong hire at coach. Replacing Fickle. Yeah, I think that was the wrong hire. They went and built this brand new facility, and I think that recruiting's taken a downward trend. I think they should have went out there and got somebody a little more pop to the name to try and get something going there. Maybe a young offensive guy. I just don't trust Satterfield as a coach. And I know what he did at Appalachian State and all that stuff, but I mean, he left Louisville to take the Cincinnati job. It was such a lateral move because he knew he wasn't going to be get a contract extension at Louisville.
I agree with you on Cincinnati. Houston, Donovan Smith is a star player at quarterback for the Cougars. The problem is the talent elsewhere for that roster. There's such a hotbed there in the Houston area. You'd think that roster can turn around and be one of the top half talented in the Big 12. But they need to make some strides, with funding and stuff of that program to really take it to the next level. But they really are in a market where they could do it. And they have had historical success, those Houston teams. They've even won, BCS level games in the recent past here. So I think Houston hopefully is a program on the rise. I think it'd be really good for the Big 12 for Houston to lift. But they're multiple years away, I think. And Arizona State is the biggest head scratcher of all. Kenny Dillingham as a person is just a quality guy.
Yep.
I don't know if anyone heard this, but there's a player at Utah State that actually passed away in a cliff jumping. He was jumping into water at a lake, and he drowned in a lake out here. This was a couple weeks ago, about a month ago. And there's a player on the Arizona State roster. That guy played at Utah State out here in Utah. And his some brother-in-law or some distant relative played on Arizona State's roster, and Dillingham heard about it. He paid for all the funeral costs for this Utah State kid. Happened this last week. He didn't say a word about it. It was found out. The guy is just gold, character-wise gold. I hope he can turn it around. Arizona State just seems like they've got so many problems. It's hard to figure out how to fix that program. It's been like that for so long. So we'll see what happens.
Jan Hulk agrees with you. He says Arizona State will not be the worst team in the Big 12. So I'm not sure.
I disagree with you, Jan. Arizona State will be the worst team in the Big 12. They'll be lucky if they win 3 games this season. I think they may only win 1 or 2.
Yeah.
Their schedule does them no favors. They lost a lot of players. I think he's got to rebuild again. I mean, at least, the NCAA bullcrap is over with, but he's going to have to build that program again. It's going to take a while. It's just, you start with nothing, you're not going to suddenly become good. So.
Remind me, what is he, an offensive guy or defensive guy?
Dillingham was offensive.
Okay, so this is what's going to happen. Kalani's going to get let go. Jay Hill's going to be the head coach, and he's going to bring in Dillingham as the offensive coordinator. Write it down.
That would be absolutely fantastic for BYU.
That would be amazing for BYU.
I think Dillingham's job is safe at Arizona State. I think they know the mess
teasing.
that Herm Edwards left.
I'm just teasing.
But yeah, I just don't think they have the talent yet.
Arizona State had Mike Norvell, Florida State's coach, in that program for many years, about a decade ago. They let him out the door and stuff. It's shocking. Like they get talent there. They just can't seem to put it together. Like this should be one of the top 3 programs in the Big 12 and the old Pac-12.
Yep.
It's so confusing. They've got a recruiting hotbed there in Phoenix. Arizona's bonkers for football. They're down there near Texas too. Like I don't get it, but like they've got a lot of work to do to get that program right-sided.
Well, let's look at the schedule. I'll just run down the schedule real quick for Arizona State.
Go ahead.
They've got Wyoming. Do we think that's a win? They got Wyoming at home.
Probably. If they were in Wyoming, I'd say no.
Okay, we'll give them that win. Okay. Mississippi State.
No, that's a loss.
They got them at
home. I hope so. Man, I hope so.
Mississippi State.
But I think that's a loss.
Yeah,
probably.
They're at Texas State.
That's a loss.
Texas State's quarterback is going to be good.
Yeah, Greg came in here earlier and already proclaimed that as a win. So,
I got his back. I got his back. I think Texas State might win that game.
So they've got one win so far. Texas Tech at Texas Tech.
No, they're not winning that game.
Kansas at home.
No.
Utah at home.
No.
At Cincinnati.
Maybe.
And maybe at Oklahoma State.
No.
UCF at home.
No.
At Kansas State.
Yeah, maybe that UCF, that's a long ways away from UCF.
I will say
this. Kind of game that gets you.
Teams flying from the far East Coast coming west struggle because of the time change. It's not the exact same as us going there. It's
okay, so we'll say it's 50-50.
Okay.
It's 50-50. I think it's a loss, but we'll say 50-50. At Kansas State.
Loss. No.
And BYU at home.
They lose to BYU too.
They lose to BYU.
That's a home game
Arizona
for BYU.
At Arizona for the Territorial Cup.
Okay, yeah. Well,
they're not going to win that game.
I don't think so either.
So, I mean, at best, there's 3 wins there.
Right.
At best.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I just something's got to change there. I don't know what it is. Dillingham's a good guy. There's no doubt about it. Yeah. And I don't. Jason Spangler popping in, by the way, says it's the other way around. Boomer, Eastern teams play better on the West Coast. That's not true. I don't. Where are you getting that stat? I'm curious because I know what BYU's record has been. So
I'll tell you what, they're going to stick UCF like at 8:30 Mountain time spot, 8:30 p.m.
Probably.
And so it's going to be like a 10:30 Eastern time spot. That's exactly what's going to happen.
Maybe. Those November night games are nice. Mm-hmm. Those November night games are relaxing. Jason Spangler clarifies. He says at least in the NFL. So that might be true in the NFL. Seahawks, since Pete Carroll was coach, Seahawks actually traveled really well going east. All right. Guys, we gone through this. Is there any other comments we wanted to have before we go to our Q&A?
One dark horse. Who is the dark horse that could win the conference?
West Virginia.
Yeah. I mean, West Virginia is loaded. That they are just absolutely loaded. Yeah, I might agree with that. Yeah, I might agree with that. I can't see anybody else really surprising. Kansas might be overrated. Arizona may be overrated, and Iowa State may be underrated. But yeah, I think West Virginia. What do you guys think?
UCF or TCU?
Okay, TCU. Okay.
TCU.
There we go.
Spooky.
There we go. Matthew Castleton checks in. He says, "Hey guys, good to see you, Matthew.
What's up?
Thanks for being here. All right, let's do the one team. What's the one team that will underperform and more than likely get their coach fired?"
Arizona.
You say Arizona? What about you, Moen?
Boy. I don't think the coach will be fired, but I think probably Baylor will underperform. I'm sorry, not Baylor. BYU will underperform.
Yikes. Boy, oh boy, I hope not.
What's like, it's just like underperforming 4 wins, though, right? Isn't that what Vegas has?
He's got
4
him at 13. I've got him at like 15. Like I've just got him above Arizona State.
Yeah, I don't think it's BYU. I think I've already said it. I think it could be Arizona, depending on health. Kansas, Utah, Oklahoma State, and Kansas State are by far the best 3 teams. Everybody else is sort of somewhere up in the air with. All right. Well, let's get to Q&A then. I appreciate everybody participating. Thanks for everybody's comments. We'll try to get to them as we get through our Q&A, just so everybody knows how the Q&A works. Unless did you want to do this thing on UNC SEC? Did you want to preview that?
A little sneak peek.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So the community wanted some analysis on UNC and the SEC here. So we'll just do a little snap here. So sneak peek of everything, because this one's a fascinating one, y'all. Whenever you're looking at USC and the realignment models that we build and everything, it's always an interesting case study here. So let's just look. And I love this guy. Look at this UNC guy. Is that the best?
It's a pretty good logo, guy. I like him.
It's a great logo. So
Yeah.
we'll just look at one upside here. This is the most obvious of all here. So UNC's basketball. UNC basketball stack ranks second in the SEC behind Kentucky, but it's right there. And it's an elite basketball program, Jordan Brand and everything else. We know how good UNC basketball is. It's the brand of brands. It's Michael freaking Jordan, everything that goes along with that. So they shake out two in the basketball world and stuff, mainly because national championships, North Carolina has 6, Kentucky has 8, and that's pushing them. But we're not going to go any farther in this, so we'll put out a short video here within the next week and everything, because this one's done, and you'll want to see the findings, because UNC always, when you throw them into these data models, is interesting.
Very good. That's a tease, everybody. And remind me, is this a members-only video? I can't remember.
Yes.
It is. Okay. So let's really quick plug for members. Moen, how does everybody become a member to watch these wonderful videos we put out in Wild Ute University, et cetera?
Sure. If you're watching us on YouTube, you can just scroll down to right next to the subscribe button, which you should already be a subscriber, but then you can click join, and it'll give you the options for membership. You can also go to the little cash icon at the bottom of the window and become a member through there.
We appreciate everybody that
You know what? We have 5 left to give this month. You want to give some memberships away?
If you want to, go ahead.
Let's give some memberships away.
Let's do it. Let's give some memberships. Let's go. Just while you're doing that, Moen, I'm going to bring up our screen. Actually, tell everybody who got them. Let's start there.
R. Webb, Dustin Flaneur, Rees, Caleb Pratt, and Eagle Eye.
Awesome.
And then we had more gifted memberships from Ryan Willie.
Holy cow, Ryan Willie. Woo, that's right.
And those went to Alex Jacquard, Hayden Maxwell, Vince 727, Jeff, and Ed Lemix. Let's do, well, you know, it's been a while.
They've been sucking you and sucking you. They've been sucking
Get some dancing in here.
Sucking you. And they've been sucking you, sucking
I love it.
sucking you. You're sick of
The kids haven't seen me dancing yet.
And you're sick of it. I get it. Thank you so much, Ryan Willie. Much appreciated, sir. You're a great contributor to the channel.
Absolutely.
Love your comments on Wisconsin.
OG. Appreciate it, Ryan. Thank you so much for your membership, your loyalty, and everything you do for the Mafia family. We really appreciate it. All right, let's get to some Q&A really quick. I'm going to show everybody what you get by becoming a member. You get access to these members-only videos. Recently, we did this, and let me take this off so everybody can see it. We've recently broken down a few things. Is the NCAA right to punish Michigan and Kentucky? That's a conversation piece. Wild Ute University, are the Seminoles fit for the SEC? Wild Ute University, are the Jayhawks SEC caliber? And then another one, the sit down, the really Big Ten. That was me and Moen breaking down the Big Ten, and that was a members only show. Appreciate everybody that does those. This is what you get. Membership has its privileges, if we quote American Express, and that's what these are. Absolutely. Do we want to plug a new, since we already did the UNC, let's plug a new vote too.
We've got a new vote. It's up for members. Right now, it looks like Clemson to SEC is running away with it. So
Clemson to SEC. All right.
If you got another pick there, Miami or the other one, you got to get on there and vote, guys. That's part of your membership. You've also got the emotes in chat, and you also get the nice little symbol next to your name that tells us how long you've been here. We've got some diamonds in the chat.
Love those diamonds.
Long time members, those diamonds. So
we love it. Thank you
appreciate
so much.
them all.
Appreciate all those memberships. And if you receive a membership, consider paying it forward and giving somebody else a membership. Keep this thing going. And it sort of builds on itself. We'll continue to build out the mafioso and do what we can to bring additional services for you guys. We love to do it. All right, let's jump into our world famous college football Big 12 Mafia Q&A. And just so everybody knows, this is how the Q&A works. Through the whole show, we flag comments we'll come back to eventually, and we'll have that as being part of the conversation. If you want to have your comment read for sure, it'll have to be a super chat. Other than that, we're going to go through the comments that are either there or provided as the show goes on. We'll pick new ones as well. But again, super chats will always be read. All right, let's start here with Shonsky. North Carolina is just a strong brand, period. Florida State isn't all what they made out to be. Florida State will be fine, trust me, but they are not all what people perceived. What do we think about that, guys?
Oh, we want to bring up the Feinbaum stuff?
If you want to. Yeah, we could. Let me see if I can find that. Give me 1 second.
I put it in private chat for you.
Oh, did you? All right. I think I grabbed it. Let's see.
Feinbaum stuff.
Maybe I did. No, let me grab it. Give me 1 second, guys. Feinbaum quote. That's what I was looking for. All right. Let's see. Is it this one? Yep, this is it. All right. I'll bring this up. This is a summary. I'm not going to play the video, but this is Paul Feinbaum today on which show was it? First Take. All right. And let me get this comment out of here so we can see it. ESPN's Paul Feinbaum believes FSU will finish the 2024 season unranked, which is pretty crazy. I have them in my top 5 all season. Let me post the link just so everybody knows we give credit where credit's due. There's the link if you want to watch the video or read the quote. First of all, they have no business being in the top 10. I don't know what he's basing that on. I think they used up too many tears crying about not getting in the playoffs. That may slow them down a little bit this year. I don't even know where to start with that. First of all, you have to give Paul Feinbaum more credit than maybe he deserves to read a quote like this. What do you guys think about that?
He's way off base.
Yeah, Paul Feinbaum looks like he's part lizard. You're not convincing me he doesn't unhinge his jaw and eat gerbils right after the show. His dad was like 3/4 iguana. I'm convinced of it.
Nice. Okay.
And the other quarter was asshole, which is what Paul Feinbaum is.
Okay, Ute, what do you got on him really quick?
No way. I mean, I don't know what his vendetta is against Florida State, but all that crap. Like, I mean, seriously, Florida State should have gotten the playoff, guys. They went undefeated last year. Like, why is he digging on Florida State? They did what they needed to do. They won all the regular season games. Why the heck is he still digging on them?
I don't know.
And then this team's good. They got DJU. I don't get that. Like,
Paul Feinbaum thought 4 SEC teams should have made the playoffs last
Unbelievable.
year. That's Paul Feinbaum.
And how many SEC teams ended up in the national championship, Moan?
Oh, body zero. Look at that. Look at that. Yeah. It's true.
Alabama lost to Michigan.
Feinbaum is a shill. We all know it. He's a shill for ESPN. But I think it speaks volumes about how ESPN is looking at Florida State right now. They're a distressed property, and they are beating them down. They're not pulling any punches at this point. All right, let's move along. That was a good comment. I'm glad we came back to that, Moen. Mr. Monkey says, I've put together a brand new value estimator. I'll explain it in a comment based on the KISS principle. I really like it. Okay, Mr. Monkey?
Keep it simple, stupid.
Keep it simple, stupid is right. Replica says, Feinbaum has been railing on any non-SEC team he can think of since Lane Kiffin embarrassed him at SEC Media Days.
Okay. So if Lane Kiffin embarrassed him, Kiffin's an SEC guy.
He's in SEC. I don't know what. Yeah, I don't know.
Like, what's his beef with Florida State?
I have no idea.
He's like I said. He thought Alabama and Georgia should have been.
Yeah. Vox Quindaro, he of the mighty gift to Moen, says Feinbaum never lettered in. You can say that, Moen. I'm not going to say that. That's one of the words I do not say. All right, let's keep going here. Let me get to more of our starred comments. Jan Holk says, you guys are really doing great. Thanks for everything. Thank you, Jan. Keep it up. Stay healthy. Let us know if there's anything we can do for you, man. Jan Holk viewing from Slovenia. super fan. That's what I call him. Joaquin Morales says, got to run. We'll finish show later. Great show, fellas, till you voted ASU last.
I love you, Joaquin. I just can't find more than 3 wins there.
Joaquin, I want you to tell us why. Come on the show and explain Arizona State to us, please. I know you're watching this recorded, but I want to talk to somebody. I thought Chris Kraft would be on the show. I haven't been able to track him down recently either. I need an ASU guy to come on and really teach us. I'm willing to learn. Just let us know what we're missing about Arizona State. Ryan Willie, $5 super chat. Thank you, Ryan. I hope Feinbaum ends up in the unemployment line right next to Skip Bayless. Okay. Very good. Thanks for the super chat. You want
Let
to
him cook, Moan.
Yeah, let's get a sounder on
Let
that.
him cook.
I love it. Thank you. Thank you.
Cook. Let him cook now. Let
Right.
him cook. I said let him cook.
I need to get a message to Joaquin Morales. I want to make sure he's not mad at us. All right. Thank you very much for the super chat, Ryan. I appreciate it. Terry Kane in the house saying Feinbaum is that black speck in chicken egg.
What?
I don't know what that is.
But he eats chicken eggs whole. He just puts them in
Okay.
his mouth and unhinges his jaw and swallows them whole.
All right.
What Feinbaum
Matthew
does.
Castleton. Good to see you, Matthew. ESPN's FPI has BYU predicted to go 3-9. BYU's schedule this year is brutal. I think they're second or third worst in the Big 12. And they can't today I don't think they have a quarterback. So
What about Bohannon? Isn't Bohannon supposed to be the guy?
well, he's not my guy. He's been down there, he's got pads on. Yeah, I think they need to fire Aaron Roderick. Anyway, Jason Spangler says, I like the predicted order, but I would still bet the field against any of the top 3 to win the conference.
Could be right. Who knows what the tiebreakers are?
Who knows?
You could
You're exactly right.
You could have 4 teams tied for this stuff by the end of it.
That is absolutely true. You might be right, Jason. Conveniently, Kansas was out of the top 3, so that makes it good for him. Antoine Code says teams better be ready to play full 60 minutes versus ASU. If you're caught sleeping, you'll probably lose. Is that right,
Mississippi
you?
State, get that game. That's a big one for ASU. That's a big one for the Big 12. Come on, Antoine Codes. Seriously. Get Dillingham to bring it up and beat Mississippi State. We need it. That's the momentum you need, too. That program needs.
I would say if ASU could win 5 or 6 games this year, it'd be fantastic, right? They'd be on
Fantastic.
the
5
way
wins.
back. That would be great for them to win that many games. Clint Moses, Big 12 question. Future non-conference schedule versus mid-tier SEC Big 10 teams, or instead schedule Oregon State or Washington?
No, that's TOSU, the Ohio State.
Ohio
University.
State or Georgia every year. Is that a question? If you could
which would
play
you
one
rather
or
do?
the other?
Which would you rather do?
Ohio State and Georgia. Bring them
I would personally like to see Ohio State, Georgia, but I think from the school's perspective, they would want to play a mid-tier SEC Big 10 team.
But Clint, I would like to play the Beavs on conference too.
Washington State and Oregon State are easy schedule region. I don't know why all the Western schools in the Big 12 aren't doing that. I'd rather play Oregon State at Corvallis than go to Wyoming or SMU. Those are joke schedule. I don't know who did that up at the Y, but they should be fired. Lee checking in. Good to see you, Lee. I am anti-Colorado because I got tired of all the casual fans coming out the hole talking about how great Colorado is, and then they win 4 games, and now it's carrying into this season. Thoughts?
I think that Colorado gets a lot of casual fans and everything. I mean, Coach Prime's exciting to watch. He really is. And that program's exciting to watch. I was watching all the first 4 games. They're on TV. I mean, they were riveting.
Right.
And so it's good product watch-wise. It's nothing about that. It's just about the depth, right? And can they win games with the depth?
Yeah, I agree. Mo, you want to add anything to that?
It's all style and no substance.
I would have to.
And it's like cheap reality TV. People will watch it, but it doesn't mean it's going to be good.
Hey, I agree with you. If they go out and win 4, 5, 6 games in a row, the whole world will be cheering for them. That's the way this is going to work for Colorado. It's all or nothing. There is no middle ground for Colorado.
Can you just imagine them going like 10-2 and getting into the playoff? Like, is it like 11 seed?
I
Like,
could see
you
that.
know, absolutely. Yeah. That's a 10-2 team in the Big 12 that could get into the playoff.
I could see that. Yeah, I could, and Colorado could do it. And Dion, if he actually coaches his team, they could be good. I don't know. There's too many question marks for me. Stephen Vitt says Scott Satterfield is not head coach material at all since he made a mistake.
They did. They did. It was a bad hire. I think they couldn't. I think they could have done so much better on that hire. I know that they wanted to get somebody quick in there when they missed on Brian Hartline, but that was not the guy to get.
Sorry, I'm typing something.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. Okay. Stephen Vitt, thank you very much for your comment. Shonsky says BYU won't win more than 5 or 6 with A-Rod as the OC. Okay, he and I are on the same page.
A-Rod is horrible.
He really is. He got fired at Utah for those BYU people that are watching and saying cuss words about me and my predictions about BYU. A-Rod should have been gone 2 years ago when they got rid of Tuiaki. Should have run both of them. But you know why? Is Kalani's super loyal to a fault. It might get him fired. I'm an anti-Colorado because did I read that one? No, this is Pickles. I'm anti-Colorado because even after they were proved to be not good last year, still talking mad smack to a 4-win season. Yeah, no. Is that really a reason to hate them? I don't know. JBaller54 says people saying Dion's probably leaving after this year anyways when his son leaves. I predicted 2 years ago that Dion was leaving after this year. What do you guys think about Dion's future in Colorado?
Depends on if Colorado wins games. If Colorado wins a bunch of games and recruiting lifts, I think that he could stay around. But if it's a tough season, he's going to have a decision to make.
Yeah, I think he's going to stay no matter how many games they win or lose. He sells tickets. He gets ratings points. He makes some money. So I think the university is going to keep him around as long as they possibly can.
Well, I think that's true, but I just think Dion will quit. I think he'll leave.
I don't think so. I think he'll stick it out.
Okay. He very well could. Dallas is going to need a new head coach, I think, at the end of this year. Nathan says Houston. Houston was his shocker team. Thank you, Nathan. Appreciate it. Jan Hulk earlier said if Dion does not have winning season, even if he tries to leave, he will not get bigger job than Colorado. No big program would take so much noise that Dion would bring. That's an interesting question.
Oh, they would.
Who?
Oh, I think any big Florida would take him in a heartbeat.
I've predicted he could go to Florida. Yeah. I think he could go to Florida State if that coach moves on.
Dion in Florida would recruit.
I know.
Crazy.
I agree. Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you. Lee says Baylor gets to 7 wins because they pay players. Okay, thank you, Lee. Appreciate that. Devil Frog, good to see you. OG Devil Frog in the house. It says Hell's Half Acre. Is he talking about the football field? I'm not sure what that means.
I don't know. That must be a TCU thing.
It might be. Yeah. Buckshot Kid says, how many games will it take for Colorado TV ratings to start dropping? Last year, what was it? Like 6 games? And then people started to stop watching you? I didn't follow them so close.
Colorado was not televised as much after the first 6 games, but the first 4 games of the season, it was out of control, massive viewership.
Right.
And I think Colorado is so compelling, even if they had a losing record, I think people would watch. I really do. I think they should be on TV every week.
I 100% agree with you. I think if they start losing, the ratings will be even bigger. People love to see people fail.
It's just crazy.
Stick Colorado on national TV every freaking week. It's just going to help the Big 12.
Okay. Illini Ted, everybody send prayers and good thoughts to Greg and Tony Lawson today for the JJ news. What happened? Did he get hurt?
Yeah, I hurt his knee. He's got to get it surgery.
Oh, that sucks. Now that Minnesota hope shifts from the pros and lands squarely on the shoulders of Max Brosmer. Okay. Yeah, prayers to Greg and Tony. Sorry, I didn't know.
JJ McCarthy.
That's
for the Vikings.
That's absolutely crazy. We're gonna get to a couple more comments and then get out of here. Arnon Gad says running back would need 2,000 yards to be in contention for the Heisman.
I agree. Close to.
I think 1,800 would do it.
Ollie Gordon's going to get a lot of yards, and so will Harvey from UCF. You guys watch out, Harvey. That is a name that you want to keep in your mind.
Well, and the Texas Tech kid too.
Yeah, Brooks.
Taj Brooks. He's going to be good too. Yeah. Big 12 is going to have some good runners this year, I think. Ryan Willie says Dallas needs a new owner. Good luck with that. Antoine Codes, our last comment tonight, says you guys do realize ASU lost 3 games last year by 13 points without an O-line and playing a running back and tight end at QB because they didn't have any depth.
And they still don't have depth. I just don't. Listen, Antoine, I get you. I think it's a rebuilding season. I think you're going to need to give Kenny Dillingham at least 4 years to really put a consistent team on the field. I'm sorry, Herm Edwards did not do that guy any favors.
Who's starting at quarterback this year for Arizona State? They've
lost
a lot of the quarterback. Yeah, Rashada's gone. He was the future.
Yeah.
I want to see Arizona State lift because that's a brand, and people know Arizona State. They'll watch Arizona State. It just helps the conference if Arizona State is a top 5 Big 12 team. So I like Arizona State. I'm rooting for Arizona State. There's a lot of growth that needs to go on in that program. And as much as I like Dillingham, I don't know if he's the right head coach for the program. He's an amazing coordinator. He's a quarterback whisperer, but if he doesn't turn around this year, he might be in the hot seat.
I think that'd be fine.
One more comment from Timothy Green. BYU is going to be true contender in basketball sooner than later. That's a fact. And it won't be too long on football either. It's just going to take a year or two. Utah's climb was a good 3 years, right? Wasn't it 3 years?
7 years.
7-year climb. Okay.
It was 5. It's 5 years because you had to go through a full recruiting cycle.
Okay.
At the Power 5 level.
Okay.
So yeah, you're looking at 5. Minimum.
See, there you go. I think that's reasonable. I said 3 to 5 2 years ago. So we just need to be, positive. If you're a BYU fan, be positive. If you're a Big 12 fan, be positive for BYU because they are a brand that could lift the entire conference if they're on top. Anyway. All right, guys, let's sign out. Ute, anything else you want to leave with everybody tonight?
Arizona is overrated. Arizona, you are overrated. TCU, you're a little bit scary. Iowa State, you're a little bit scary. Go Utes.
Go Utes. I'm mowing.
Yeah, I think the Big 12 is the most competitive conference in college football. I think you can make an argument for 6 to 8 teams right now that could be the conference champion. I don't think you can do that for any other conference. So I think Big 12 is going to be fun to watch this year. Go Bucks.
I love it. Thank you so much. And appreciate everybody being here tonight on a Tuesday night for the Big 12 breakdown. Thank you so much for all the comments and questions. Really appreciate it. Also, quick update for those that weren't here at the beginning of the show. I'm going to be taking a little time off. I've got some stuff going on with my mouth that I might miss some shows. It's not because I've gone anywhere. It's just because my health is a little bit topsy-turvy right now. So I would just tell you guys to lean on Moen, Ute, and the rest of the team as they put their stuff out. It's great, and it certainly doesn't need me around. I just want to thank everybody for their well wishes and just wish everybody to stay strong and continue to support the Mafia because that's what we're here for, is for you. And that's where we check in. So we'll just leave it at that. Everybody have a great night. If you have questions about my health, go ahead and send me a thing on Twitter. I'm happy to engage on Twitter, give you more details. But I probably won't bring it up again on the show, just so everybody knows. Everybody have a great night. Stay out of trouble and peace out, right, you? Peace.
Go Utes.